Imagine a world where cities were built to impress the gods, humble enemies, and awe generations not yet born. Where arches defied gravity, domes touched the sky, and stone whispered stories of empire. Welcome to ancient Rome, not just a civilization, but an architectural revolution. In this video, we're diving deep into the built forms and typologies of Rome, from bustling forums to monumental amphitheaters, aqueducts, temples, baths, and more. If you think you know Roman architecture, think again. Let's uncover why 2,000 years later, these buildings still shape the world we live in. Roman architecture didn't emerge in a vacuum. It evolved from Greek, Etruscan, and even Egyptian influences. But Romans supercharged it. They invented concrete, perfected arches, and mastered urban planning. They didn't just build for function, they built to express power, permanence, and divine order. Let's start with the showpiece, the amphitheater. Romans loved spectacle, and nowhere was this more visible than in the Colosseum. Built around 70 to 80 CE, the Colosseum wasn't just the largest amphitheater ever made. It was a logistical marvel. Over 50,000 spectators, 80 numbered entrances, tiered seating based on class, an underground hypogeum with elevators and trapdoors for wild animals and gladiators, and a velarium, a massive retractable canopy to shade the audience, but the Colosseum wasn't alone. Cities across the empire had their own versions, for example, Nimes, Pula, Pompeii, each adapting the form for local culture. The amphitheater was Rome's version of the cinema, stadium, and social media feed, all in one. Moreover, there were Roman theaters which evolved from Greek models but were uniquely Roman in two ways. One, they were freestanding, and two, they were not built into hillsides. If you'd like to know more about the Greek models, feel free to click the icon above. And they included a scani fronts, a highly decorated stage backdrop. Theaters like the Theater of Marcellus and Orange in France weren't just for entertainment. They were civic gathering spaces, often funded by emperors or elite citizens as a way to buy public favor. If the Colosseum was Rome's arena, the Forum was its brain. These were open plazas surrounded by basilicas, temples, law courts, and statues, the epicenter of political, religious, and economic life. There wasn't just one forum. There was the Imperial Fora, which was built by Caesar. Also were the Augustus, Nerva, and Trajan. Each tried to outdo the last in grandeur. The Forum was where the Republic debated and the Empire displayed its might. Basilicas were large halls for legal proceedings and business, not religious worship. Their design was made up of a central nave with side aisles, often ending in an apse which would become the blueprint for Christian churches later on. Take the Basilica of Maxentius and Constantine. Vaults up to 35 meters high, concrete coffered ceilings, and a colossal scale. It was a monument to imperial presence, law, and architectural muscle. Roman temples borrowed from Greece, but with key differences. Raised podiums, emphasis on the front facade, deep porticos leading to a cella, the inner chamber of the gods. Temples like the Maison Carrée in Nimes or the Pantheon weren't just spiritual, they were political statements. Every aspect of design, from proportions to placement, reinforced the Roman worldview, harmony, hierarchy, and divine sanction of the state. The real breakthrough was domes and vaults. And the crowning achievement? The Pantheon. A 43-meter-high dome, a perfect circle, an oculus that opens the temple to the sky. The Pantheon wasn't just a temple, it was a cosmic model. Its proportions represent the earth and heavens. Its structure is so advanced, we still don't fully understand the engineering. Before we proceed, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow and gets this content in front of more curious minds like yours. And also subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a daily dose of our content. Romans achieved this with concrete, which included a volcanic additive called pozzolana, which made it waterproof and durable. This material revolutionized architecture forever. What kept Rome running? Water. Aqueducts carried millions of gallons daily, from mountains to cities, over valleys, across bridges, even underground. Pont du Gard is an example. Combined with sewer systems, fountains, and public baths, aqueducts made Roman cities cleaner, healthier, and more advanced than almost any city until the 19th century. Baths weren't optional. They were daily ritual and social hub. The baths of Caracalla could host over 1,600 bathers at once. Roman baths weren't just for getting clean. They had libraries, gyms, art galleries, and even gardens. These places were like ancient wellness centers. And the way they were built, heated floors, giant domes, and beautiful mosaic tiles, shows how the Romans blended smart engineering with relaxation and luxury. The arch was the Roman architect's best friend. Stronger than post and lintel, more flexible and easier to scale. It made bridges, aqueducts, triumphal arches, and multi-level buildings possible. Roman roads, meanwhile, stretched over 400,000 kilometers across the empire, straight, durable, and meticulously engineered. You've heard the saying, all roads lead to Rome? That wasn't a metaphor, it was a blueprint. Not everyone lived in marble mansions. The elite enjoyed Domus homes, complete with atriums, frescoes, and private baths. The rest lived in Insulae, early apartment blocks often 4 to 6 stories tall. Crammed, flammable, and risky, these buildings still showed the Roman knack for dense urban housing. From grand temples to gritty insulae, Roman-built forms weren't just functional, they were visionary. They expressed control, order, and ambition, a society that aimed to conquer the world and eternity. We still see their DNA in stadiums, churches, courthouses, government buildings, and city planning. They built to impress the heavens and outlast time. The empire ended. But the architecture still stands.